What is up, WTF Nation Radio? It is I, the actual King Smith, one half of the host of the Sports Bar here at WTF Nation Radio, where we talk to you about all things sports and life. Coming at you live every Sunday at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern. I am a U.S. Air Force veteran. Coach over here is a U.S. Army veteran, and he always likes to kick it off a certain way. Coach, let the people know something.
What do you hear? What do you say? It's Sunday. It's Father's Day. I don't have my beer with me right now. I can't believe this. I actually found a beer that is in my fridge, and I did not bring with me tonight to start the daggone show. I am unprepared as much as it is, but it's Father's Day, so it's really my day. And to all you fathers out there, in the words of Samuel L. Jackson, Happy Motherfuckers Day, motherfucker. Hey, King, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. I am glad that it is Father's Day. I got treated really well today by my lady and my daughter, but I'm actually lucky. They don't treat me well just for a special day. They treat me well every day, and I'm thankful for that.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm happy that you got that today. Today had a pretty special day. Went out to dinner with them, and then my kids got me some stuff for after it, and and then we went out, and things were good for all day today. I had cheesesteak. I can't complain about it.
Good deal. Nice. A
That's the
good
best way.
cheese.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing to do, man. There's three things in this world that if you mess it up, you don't know how to make food. But if you get it right, you can make the best food ever. It's three simple things: a Reuben, a cheesesteak, and a pizza.
What's third? A pizza. You
Yeah.
know what? Interesting. I've never had a homemade Reuben. I've had homemade pizzas. I've had homemade cheesesteaks. But I've never just been at a house and somebody was like, "Hey man, do you want a Reuben?" I've never had
Well,
that happen.
nobody really keeps pastrami. Nobody keeps sliced pastrami at the house. Nobody has rye bread. Nobody has Thousand Island dressing, and nobody has sauerkraut. But those that do, when they put it together, they are able to do it right. And if you mess something up like that, then hey, that's your own fault.
Good deal. Well, hey, we have a light show today. Today, we're going to get into a couple of different things. We're going to talk about Coach's favorite people to talk about, Caitlyn Clark and Reese.
Oh, dear Christ Almighty! I'd rather talk about the Air Force. Yeah, you're right, Susan. The Army is sleazy and gross, and so am I. But King's all fresh and so clean, clean.
We have an update on a guy, Noah Kaniga. That's how that's
Oh,
how his
that
last name is said, Kaniga.
you're
Um,
allowed to. I can't.
we have an update on him and where he is going to college. His name took the world by storm, and his and through some very clever marketing, he went viral. But the kid's also good. He's also good, and he has signed to a college, and we're going to get an update on that. And then we're going to end the show where I came up with my top five favorite father kid sports combination, meaning that the father played
Ah.
as well as their kid played. And I'm going to give my top five, and I want to see what you think about my top five, coach, and if there was anybody that you would have took out or put into the top five.
Ah, I
So,
got you.
to the people watching, I produced the show. Coach doesn't know the people that I'm going to bring up and list, but we are going to get into
Not a
that.
single clue. You know how much show prep we do for this show? Less than that. Less than what we do, for, or at least I know I do less than what I do for a Wednesday night on the Smoke Pit. I ju- I jumped on, man. Radar was having a crap time on Wednesday, and
Hmm.
I jumped on and started showing him some of my woodwork and things like that. But oh, wait a minute, I'm getting a little bit too far ahead of myself on that one. But yeah, show prep wise, I do not know what you have listed as your top five. I will state though that if the Griffies are not in that top five, your list is completely invalidated. But
Maybe
we shall
they're,
see.
maybe they're not. We'll
Maybe
see,
not.
Coach. But before we get into it, we did have some comments. But I'm going to play a video real quick, and this is probably one of my favorite Hard Knocks moments in which a father who played sports talked about his kids. Time you gotta scratch your head because you got all them kids. Maybe you should be having kids. But that was Antonio Cromartie on an episode of the Hard Knocks in which they asked him to name all of his kids. That dude was like, "Yeah, I got King who's 8, Joey who's 13, Christmas who's 18 years old," and I'm just like, "Yo."
All right,
Um,
and you had to play the one when he was on the frickin' Jets and he did that.
yep.
You know what? And let me get to that one right there. So that was what, the 2010 2011 season, right?
I'm not
That was the
sure.
hard. Yeah, I think that was Hard Knocks in 2010 because that's when Cromartie. That's when the Jets got there. That's when Revis held out after the first AFC Championship game run. Revis held out all of training camp and came back on that last one. But when Cromartie talked about that, my wife and I looked at each other and said, "Thank fucking God I'm snipped." Because that boy, that guy's pullout game is absolutely terrible. I mean, for crying out loud, that dude has fathered, and that's the sad part about this. He has fathered so many kids. He made a fucking TV show about it.
Did he?
And you know, yeah, you don't remember that? There's like there's some
No.
yeah, there's some reality show like the Cromarties, like like that 18 Kids and Counting or the Bates Family. They had a thing about the Cromartie kids, about the old Nick Cannon fucking team or whatever they had out there. And for those of you that like to father a bunch of children, I just want to remind you that the first family that did that Duggar family, yeah, the
Mm.
oldest boy was molesting the children, then was found on Ashley Madison. So let's just be quite honest with you. You're pioneers of fathering so many children that instead of giving them names, you're giving them numbers, has definitely caused some bad issues. So please continue to do so. Anyway. But yeah, you know what the sad thing is? His daggone that year. So the 2010 2011 Jets. You realize that there are 3 Hall of Fame players on that team, and the most 2 famous players on that team is Antonio Cromartie and a guy who ran his face into the ass of his lineman 2 years later.
Oh yeah,
3
man.
Hall of Famers on that team too.
Anytime I want a good laugh, I think about that clip in which Mark Sanchez ran into the back of his lineman's butt and fumbled.
And yeah,
Who so
the 3
besides
Hall of
Revis,
Famers. Do you know
who
who
are
they
the
are?
other 2 Hall of Famers?
Ah, that's a good one. Well, the second LT to grace the Meadowlands,
Hmm.
LaDainian Tomlinson, and at that point, he was before then in Miami and played a great Pro Bowl type every year over in Miami, and then came to the Jets for a Super Bowl run. The one, the only Jason Taylor.
Okay.
All 3 of them, NFL Hall of Famers, all 3 of them were on that Jets, that 2010, 2011 team that lost to Indiana. No, that lost to the Steelers.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, Coach, right before we decided to go live, you had a message for somebody. Are you ready to play that?
Well, seeing that I think copyrights might get us sucked for this one, I actually think that I may be able to play it in a different way, but I make sure that I have this already queued up right now, ready. And Miss TZ, I'm going to put in the chat right now. And in fact, I'm going to go right now back onto Facebook, completely screw up my damn bit rate, and make sure that you are. Wait a minute. No, I take that back. King, do me a favor. Go on the team chat and make sure that Miss TZ is listening to the song that I would like to share for her at this moment in time. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen, in honor of everybody's favorite show, the House of Dragons coming back. Let's play the theme song.
All right, and
Wiener, 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 next to another wiener, 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 two wieners alongside yet another wiener party, wiener party, wiener party, wieners nice and soft, non-erect wieners. Flopping wieners, flopping wieners, dangle wieners, dangle wieners in my bag.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank goodness it is back tonight. Yes. 9 p.m. on HBO Max, where I checked out the 24 hours of Le Mans yesterday and today. But yes, House of Dragons Season 2 and TeeZee, I hope you get enough floppy wieners for tonight.
man, I was like, wait, what? When you played it, like now it's stuck in my head. That song, Wiener, it is now stuck in my head.
Wiener. Oh yeah, you're gonna be thinking about that all every time you hear that song from now
Ooh,
on.
I should call my daughter up to show my Father's Day card. Um, because it is very it goes with it. As a matter of fact, Coach,
Yo, let me
let's
go ahead and do the
let's get the
next
marketing
spiel.
out the
Tell
way,
everybody what's known because Friday's a big show, man.
and then
Friday's a big show. We
I'll
got to
be
let
right
them
back.
know about it. Outstanding. So, ladies and gentlemen, we come to you live 6 nights a week on U.S Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio across our broadcasting platforms of YouTube, Kick, Facebook, and X. Those of y'all out there on X, hey, love you all out there, even though I don't see you. And all of you that are watching us on U.S Army WTF Moments on Facebook, hey, love you, every single one of you too. Love wherever you're coming. But U.S Army WTF Moments, we come live 6 nights a week, starting off every Sunday with us here on the Sports Bar, where we bring to you live the world of sports, of fun, and of everything else out there. We take your comments and everything, and we talk about whatever is on your mind and whatever is on our minds. Then we kick off the week with a Monday edition. Then Ice, he's actually on vacation. I don't know if he's back this week. But Ice and his rotating guest, and Mad Mike was a great one, and Dag Blam it, can't remember the other one who was on there. But anyway, we've had some greats. It was what's his name? Shipwreck was on there, and yeah, we got some great guests. But you want to watch him on Monday nights. Now Tuesday, Pop Culture Warrior has another guest, and I don't have the chat up right now. And CQ, you've already done way too much for this show, so I'm not going to put you over. But you got another great Hollywood guest that's coming this week, and if you want to talk about the world of pop culture with CQ and a window licker in a bubble where he should be, Mad Mike, you go ahead and watch Pop Culture Warrior on Tuesday at 8 p.m. And on Wednesday, Radar. Hey, Radar, thanks for letting me to kind of be in there on Wednesday, man. It was pretty cool. We were talking about everything because TeeZee couldn't make it on. And TeeZee, I hope you like the Wiener Party. Wiener Party, Wiener Party. This week's guest is Army veteran and comedian P.T. Bratton on CQ's Pop Culture Warrior. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I forgot who they put that on there. And whoever did, thank you very much for reminding me. But anyway, we're back to Wednesday with the Smoke Pit with our hosts, Radar and TeeZee. 2-hour bullshit session, just talking about absolutely anything. Last week we were talking about woodworking and kind of resources that you guys can get involved with. I'm going to let you all know about a great one over in Wyoming. It's called Honor the Heroes, and I am telling you that is a great organization. They have 2 woodworking camps at, and if it's the same one that I believe it is, then you're going to have an outstanding time over there in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Hell, the time when I went up there, I actually flew up, and it was when Kanye West debuted his album, and I had too many private jets pushing me out on there, to include Kim Kardashian's fat ass. But regardless of her. And anyway, we get to Thursday. Thursday is Sergeant's time. And ICE will be back, I believe, this Thursday. Talk to you about the world of military from the U.S. Army Mold Center of Excellence or Area 51 or some bunker. But I will tell you, ICE has got some great stuff. He's been talking to a lot of people, coordinating great things. And definitely want to say that. And by the way, even though we do have mini ICE and everything else like that, I'm calling a little bit of a spiritual animal. If you are watching this, and I call spiritual son of ICE Fancy Bear out there, for those of you that don't know a Fancy Bear, you might want to go take a look at him on Facebook. Great stuff that he's doing. Fancy Bear, shout out to you, brother. This beer's for you, man. Next time I see you over here in Fayetteville, frickin' let me know who the hell you are too, brother. I'll buy you a cold one. But I am going absolutely berserk over these previous 5 days so that this way I can tell you guys something serious. So, for those of you watching out there and know the history of WTF Nation Radio, you will know that Kaz has been one of the key people ever since the first day of this station. Him, Redleg, and then now the group of hosts that are currently on this station from over 10 years. Kaz has been one of the key cogs on WTF Nation Radio, U.S. Army WTF Moments, and his show Friday Night Freedom. I was watching it long before I was ever there, even long before COVID. I remember Friday Night Freedom being on. Shoot, I remember seeing a live shot of one. I don't remember how long ago it was, and I was pretty fucking loaded when I saw it. But regardless of that, I've been on there with Friday Night Freedom with Kaz, and in place of Pookie, and Kaz's last show will be this Friday night. The last Friday Night Freedom, this Friday, June 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. Hawaiian. Please come in, check out Kaz, wish him fun, goodbye, and the best to his future as him and Spanky, I believe Spanky, maybe even Mom might even be on there. But you know what? You're going to see probably every single one of us on there to wish Kaz a bon fadieu from U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. And that wraps up everything that we have for this week on U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio, coming to you live at 8 p.m. every evening this week. Back to us. I didn't know how long you were there. Hey, TeeZee, you might want to go ahead and just replay 5 minutes ago. And just want you to be a little happier. I'll play the song for you again, but if not,
run it back.
Play it.
Run it back, because that is going to have a nice tie-in to my card. So this was my card that my lady got me. It said, "Happy Father's Day to a man who knows what to do with his meat." And then inside it said, "and also has some really nice buns." And TeeZee, coach to that card, had something that he wanted to tell you that
Yes.
is related to this card,
You,
and I'm waiting for him to bring it up, because when he
you
does,
see, TZ, I know that right now you are anxiously awaiting and have 38 minutes until the debut of your favorite song. So in favorite show. So in honor of TZ's favorite show, House of the Dragons, and its fourth father, Game of Thrones, I bring to you the greatest theme song ever.
Wiener, 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 wiener,
One
wiener, next to another wiener, 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 two wieners alongside yet another wiener, party, wiener, party, 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 wiener, wieners, nice and soft, non-erect wieners, flopping wieners, flopping wieners, dangle wieners, dangle wieners in my bag.
Ah, yes. Wiener, 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 wiener. Oh.
Oh, Hey,
House of Dragons debuting season 2 right as soon as we are off the air.
yep. And look, here at the Sports Bar, y'all, we have fun. We have fun. We're trying our best to just not get kicked off the internet.
At
That's our goal,
You're
just not
welcome,
kicked off the
TeeZee.
internet. So
Yeah, we
TZ,
get sucked. Hey, look, we get sucked. Don't worry about it. ICE isn't even monitoring the ops.
so
I did all that got his attention.
So to TZ, thanks for tapping in. I'm strategically ending this show so that I can catch the first episode my damn self. Shout out to Drew over on Facebook that said Happy Father's Day, all of y'all. Hey Drew, Happy Father's Day to you as well. I can see in your profile picture right there that looks like a pic of, I'm assuming, you and your kid. So happy Father's Day to you, and Viva la Vargas said happy Daddy's Day, and Viva la Vargas. I don't know if you are
Yes.
father, but if you are, Felice Poppy's Day to you too. I think I messed that all.
That's it. I'll go English to Samuel L. Jackson for my Father's Day
Give
greeting.
it to us one more time, Coach.
Happy Mother's Fuckers Day, you motherfuckers.
All right, let's get into the show. First things first, we're just gonna talk about some quick sports news. The U.S. Open had a really interesting finish right there towards the end. Um, Bryson DeChambeau
Mhm.
ended up outlasting Rory to win his, I think, his second U.S. Open. All right, and sloppy play. A lot about golf. I'm not a golf enthusiast, but I keep up with the sport because it's relevant to what we talk about over here. But it got
Uh,
sloppy right there towards the end, but Bryson ended up pulling it off.
King, you know what the sad part is, and I'm saying this bad. I am saying this as maybe I should have taken this a little bit more seriously. You realized I'm 45 minutes away from the U.S. Open and I know exactly where they're playing because they're playing in Pinehurst, right
Oh,
in
yep,
Aberdeen, Southern Pines, right back there. They're playing
yep,
in
yep.
Pinehurst right now.
Hmm.
And yeah, Bryson DeChambeau, I'm glad that another live golfer is winning these championships because it's now legitimizing live, even though I think live still has a hell of a lot more to legitimize itself as an actual league. But man, Rory McIlroy, it's been 10 years since he did it. And there was that nice little gap that Tiger had between major championships when he won it in 2019 from there. But Bryson DeChambeau, he's proven that he is the best golfer on the world. But Rory had a great comeback on there. It was a sloppy day out here. I will tell you though, the weather was phenomenal all weekend over
Good.
here, and there was no rain, nothing, so they couldn't have gotten a better weather. I will say, man, Pinehurst number two is by far the one of the hardest courses in the world. I would say within the top 10 all around the world, and that's going with Pebble Beach and the Players Championship, even going to dag blame it, where the Masters is, and even over in Scotland where the British Open. Pinehurst is that level and one of the crown jewels of American golf. The Golf Hall of Fame is going to be permanently stationed there in Pinehurst. And you know what? Once Tiger left, nobody cared. Can you believe this? Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, right now, best golfer in the world, is playing golf in the equivalent of the USFL to the NFL. Be like Patrick Mahomes playing for the Houston Rough Riders or whatever you want to call it. There has not been somebody to bring butts back into the seats since Tiger, uh, you know, well, we could say that he took steroids, but ever since Tiger, got into that car accident And I'm not talking about the recent one. I'm talking about the first one with the golf club through the window by his ex-wife. That since that time, the PGA has yet to move the needle. Okay, and that's the sad part is that nobody knows who's still around.
Yeah. Nobody
Yeah,
knows who's still
nobody,
around.
nobody, nobody knew that Rory McIlroy was still playing, and nobody even realized it was like, oh, we should have had him 5 years ago,
What?
or we should 10 years ago, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's been that long, but golf right now is so irrelevant that even in my backyard, I had zero interest at seeing a golf major championship happening in my backyard.
Nope. They need to
There's
find a
no
way to
draw
market it and make
anymore.
it more interesting.
Yeah, and what's interesting about seeing all this is two things: entitled rich white people or athletes that have been trained because their parents are rich enough to afford and play an elitist sport that takes up way too much space and is absolutely unnecessary other than as a recreational activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is nothing really drawing the American public to golf. I'm sorry to say it. That anybody here, even in the listening, even watching it, even watch 1 minute of our greatest golf tournament. That's what the U.S. Open's supposed to be. Nobody here in our audience watched it.
Nope. I only knew that it was happening because I did a DraftKings lineup where I threw $25 at a chance to win 1 million. That's the only reason that I knew that the U.S. Open was even
Yeah,
coming up.
yeah, and that's a sad state of affairs. This is what's happening right now when we ended up conglomerizing. And hate to say this, football has now turned into the indominant king of all sports. Everybody else is playing second, third, fourth. And if you're not in those top four, you better be somewhat tertiary and have something to bring them to them, like Caitlyn Clark does, or everybody, or what happened in tennis when Sampras and everybody, or even with Tiger. Because if not, you are not going to get any traction whatsoever.
Nope. And Drew said, I didn't even know that it was happening. And I play golf daily on video games. Hey, Drew, are you Xbox, PC, PlayStation? I'm a Xbox gamer. I Xbox game
Man,
daily,
man,
primarily football and some Call of Duty. But golf, I used to play the golf video games often when I was TDY and somebody would have a system and they take it in. A lot of the pilots played golf, so they would do golf on
see,
TDYs or deployments.
See, now I had the Wii back during the Iraq Cuba deployment the time from '07 to '09 when I was in those two areas.
Uh huh.
I had the Wii. And the Wii at that time had Tiger Woods '08. The EA Tiger Woods '08. And
Yeah.
playing that on the Wii was the best video game experience. That, like back in the day, that was the pure interaction at home. Was that Wii remote and playing freaking Tiger Woods, '08 on the Wii, man. It was phenomenal.
Um, DeChambeau will take home a massive $4.3 million check. And this year, the U.S. Open offered what was to be a record purse of 21.5 million, which marks the largest ever put up in a men's major championship in history. It was a 1.5 increase from last season and 1.5 more than the Masters offered earlier this year. Second place with Rory, he took 2.3 million. Tied in third to Tony Finau and Patrick Cantlay at 1.2. It drops under a million at fifth place, in which
Hmm.
Matthew Pavon scored $843,000. Look,
Uh,
to be able to win that much
mhm.
playing what I think you're an athlete if you play golf. Like I've tried playing golf. I suck at it. I took a course in which they teach you how to play golf, and I sucked at it. My top golf game is also trash, but I have fun. So, congratulations to these men in their win on a game that I would be privileged enough to be good at.
Hmm. Man, yeah, that course, two will never be played. You cannot play on two, and it's only utilized for professional at Pinehurst. There are a couple of them that I believe are public courses that you can play at. If I'm correct, Bethpage in New York, I believe, was a public course.
Hmm.
I believe. So you could play at a course like that. You could play that actual course. Pebble, I know, is a private. No, Pinehurst is. And to be honest with you, I don't know about any of the other ones. But yeah, you can go play at Bethpage, and they do occasionally sprinkle some public courses in there. There are ways to play that one, but the ultimate would be to play at Augusta National, which unfortunately, King, I'm too broke, and you're too well southern.
Hey, I had the opportunity. Let me tell you, I had the opportunity to because I was stationed down in Warner Robins in Georgia, and I had an opportunity to volunteer for the was it the Augusta Nationals, the
Yeah, yeah.
Masters, whatever.
Now, yeah, that's the Masters. Yeah,
And
Augusta
yeah,
Nationals.
the Masters. And man, let me tell you, I walked away with about $700 over 3 days of volunteering because of the amount of tips that a lot of those rich guys were just giving away. And I, as a black male, was on the low end of that because there were some of my how do I say this? My Air Force counterparts that were lighter than me and the opposite gender that left with over $1,000.
Oh, come on. We all knew that was going to happen. They were definitely, that was a definite. For crying out loud, anytime a sausage party's around, the money goes flying right to the person who brings the catcher's mitt. So
Yeah,
let's just be, yes.
there
Anyway, yeah.
there was one lady at the end of day one, a young airman. She had like $600, and all she did was smile and look pretty. And literally, as uh, we all started talking, she goes, "Oh my goodness!" She goes, "I'm going to take advantage of this and make it a competition to see how much." So we started like cheering for her and like trying to offer tips to maximize. and, and,
Oh, damn.
and and yo, she actually did a really good thing because I was under 21 at the time, so we couldn't legally drink, but she ended up like throwing a party essentially with the money that she got off all these rich assholes. It was awesome.
Hell yeah.
Good
But
deal.
yeah.
We have two updates real quick. One, we got a celebrity in the chat. We got Pop Culture Warrior in the building. Said Happy Father's Day, boys. Hey man, I know he's a father. Happy Father's Day to you. And the second announcement for the third straight stream, we have over 100 live viewers watching. So let's give it up for us and the
Hell
viewers out
yeah.
there. And we appreciate it. If you are on a live stream platform that has the opportunity to have a like button, do us a favor, like what's scrolling at the bottom.
A-
Hit that like
And
button for
and
us.
and apparently I have an update. Okay, so on top of the fact that we didn't know that the US Open Championship was happening or we didn't care, another thing that we didn't care about was the UFL Championship, and congratulations to the Birmingham Stallions
Was my
who
next.
defeated the San. Oh, no shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. That was my next thing. But hey, go ahead, man. You
Oh, fuck
got
me.
it.
Sorry. Well, so
You
anyway,
got it.
ladies and gentlemen, as we go from one obscure sport to the next, and then to the next, which will be the WNBA, because nobody really wants to talk about baseball. The Birmingham Stallions just beat the San Antonio, whatever the fuck they are, by a score of 25-0 in the UFL championship. And apparently there was some pushing and shoving, and there was a forced fumble. And yeah, you might see that apparently a robotic dog presented the game ball to Kurt Warner after it. Yeah. So now I know what it feels like for the audience when I start talking about Formula One.
So I like the UFL's product. I watch it. I was aware of the championship game, and I was actually watching it while I was show prepping and producing the show. The interesting parts about this is the Birmingham Stallions. This would have been their third title that they wanted, which their coach, Skip Holt, which has, if you know the Holt's last name, then you have
Yeah,
an
Skip.
idea
Yep.
of his lineage. That gives him his UFL title. Um, and they're third in the um UFL. What was also interesting about this is that the San Antonio team that put up a goose egg in the championship game actually beat the Birmingham Stallions a few weeks back, 18-9.
Hmm.
But hey, look, all you got to do is make it to the playoffs, and then everything goes 0-0 at that point. And how you did in the regular season and what your record was essentially doesn't matter. You just got to make it to the big dance. So congratulations to the Birmingham Stallions on their UFL championship.
So in professional football, we have our first three-peat. May we see a repeat early next year. Dun dun dun.
It'll actually be the first one, first ever in the NFL.
Could very well be. We might be doing
Wow.
it. I hope we are.
Okay.
Nobody's won.
Good.
Nobody's no. Not three Super Bowls in a row.
Interesting.
NFL and yes, and I think I'm not too definite about NFL championships, but I think maybe the Packers might have. But I don't know off the top of my head.
All right. Let's see. Our next sports subject is Chiefs defensive lineman Isaiah Buggs has been arrested again for the second time in over a month after he was booked on a domestic violence and burglary charge in my home state of Alabama this morning and was subsequently released on a $5,000 bond. The Chiefs are aware of the case but declined to comment when asked by ESPN. Just on May the 30th, Isaiah Bucks turned himself in as he was charged with two misdemeanor counts of second degree animal cruelty in Tuscaloosa. All right. Two dogs that were under
Mhm.
his care, a pit bull and a Rottweiler mix, were found to be neglected and severely malnourished. And one of those dogs had to be euthanized. Okay. So here you have a guy, 27 years old. He's played 3 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers, two with the Detroit Lions before joining the Chiefs as a practice squad player, severely screwing up his opportunity and chances to turn his life around. And for people like him, it's just I have to scratch my head and ask myself, what the F are you doing? I don't understand it,
Uh,
Ken.
yeah, I don't understand it either, and it's that part of the maturity process where maybe he grew up like this, and I'm not saying anything about the animal cruelty or anything else like that, but you know, I would say this: the maturity level of the professional athletes really determines whether or not they would be successful. And the lack of maturity shown by this gentleman for the animal neglect, which ended up uncovering something else, is going to spell his release from the practice squad. Practice squad members count as very little, if not anything, against the cap. He will be released until anything starts back up, and maybe the Birmingham Stallions, or is that their name?
Yep. Hmm.
Okay, yeah, maybe the Birmingham Stallions could pick him up later on next UFL season. But kiss this NFL season goodbye, buddy. Unfortunately, right now, nobody is going to take anything until your life gets squared away, and he needs to square his life away before he can play another down of professional football in a meaningful way.
Yep. Now, the last thing that we have before we get into our next segment, RG3 has covered Noah Nigga. Very good. And he's had some fun with it. And if y'all don't follow RG3, RG3's Twitter account and his YouTube channel, he puts on a fantastic sports segment. I'd say it's second to us. All right. But he does a fantastic, hilarious sports commentary. And he did a follow-up today about the announcement of where Noah was going to school. Let's take a look.
Sorry, have you guys ever been to Paris? It's a random question, but it's not a random. It's a random question.
I know why. There's a song that says in Paris.
I know the song. I'm just asking him the question. I can't feed him the answer.
We've never been to Paris.
Plug.
How do you pronunciate your last name?
Oh, so this is how you pronounce it. It's Noah Kanega. You say it Kanega. Like that.
What do you mean by that?
See, that's the key.
There you go.
There you go. Now we're vibing. Now we're vibing a little bit. So, I know for some people that might ruin the name. I don't think it ruins the name at all. I think you should get a couple T-shirts that say Kanega, please.
Daddy, chill.
I think it's hilarious. Anyone ever gotten mad about your last name?
I don't think they've gotten mad. I had a few guys come to me like, "Hey, man, what's up with this?" How we gonna say it? But I don't think anybody's ever gotten mad.
I absolutely loved the edits. He injects a lot of humor into his videos, and it is fantastic. Whoever produces RG3 stuff deserves all the recognition and money with it.
So, how did he pronounce it? Just so that I don't get us canceled.
So the way that the family says that the name is pronounced is Kanega. 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 I don't believe it.
Listen,
that's their way of just making sure that
are we still on the air?
Yes, we are.
Okay, just want to make sure we're still broadcasting because between South Park copyright infringement and I'm a word that I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to ever say seriously. Yeah.
Well, he has committed.
I mean, is his coach
to East Star linebacker? Did I lose you, Coach?
I've got way too much. Damn you, Dave Chappelle. I'm just. I mean, come on. This guy's first play, that safety is going to get up in the middle of the field and yell, "Whoa, that's my Kanega!" I mean, come on, I can't even say
it. Drew said, if you don't bust up laughing, you ain't right. I mean, it's too easy for me. It is too easy. It is hilarious.
I mean, from now on, I am going to watch every Eastern Michigan game for this year. If he's still on the roster next year, I will watch every single one of these games that Eastern Michigan has. I honestly hope that there's one day that Mike Tirico is calling the game and he has to say Noah's last name on air. I am rooting for this kid to make it to the NFL. All right? I am. And you know who I want him to go to? I want him to go to the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers.
Why is that?
Oh, come on. When you think of linebackers and mean sons of a bitches in the NFL, you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I agree.
Those linebackers, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. You think of the great coaches, Chuck Knowles. The only one that could probably say his name and get away with it.
This is true.
I mean, he's perfectly fit for a Mike Tomlin defense. I'm just saying.
Hey,
Perfectly
speaking
fit.
of, I don't know if you saw that photo of Mike Tomlin when he was with his agent and they signed the first contract when he went with the Steelers, and then they pretty much recreated them sitting down signing contracts again with the same agent. I said, that's loyalty right there, and that's freaking dope.
Pittsburgh Steelers have long been the standard bearer in the NFL. 3 head coaches in their entire history. 6 Super Bowl champions, 6-time Super Bowl champions, countless Hall of Famers. The second largest fan base in the National Football League behind the Dallas Cowboys. We've already gone into that one, and we all know about that. But Pittsburgh easily has the second biggest fan base out of anybody in the NFL. They have not had a season under 500 in. I know it's longer than the Yankees, and I'm pretty sure it's actually it's the longest current in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that it is one of the longer streaks in NFL history. I don't know how many seasons in a row. Absolute stability. That entire family has done that, and the entire family has kept the stability, but has also not delved into the football decisions the way a Jerry Jones and Al Davis or other owners that have been in that time period have. And the owners also don't have that nepotism type of thing where the parents got all the success and then the kids are just spoiled rich silver spoon motherfuckers like James Dolan, Woody Johnson, Hal Steinbrenner. Oh God, who's the other one? And the Mara kid from the Giants. Basically, I just named every fucking sports owner from the New York area, but you get except for Stevie Cohen, who thank you very much for your clinics.
Hey, look, Noah's got the opportunity to do some things, right? He's got the media hype behind him. He's got RG3 really being a champion. I thought it was dope to have the whole entire family there to talk about his decision and where he's going to college. And if the kid can get the play right on the field, then come what draft 2028, 2029. It's gonna be real interesting if this kid is able to work his way up to be a top 3 round pick in the NFL to hear how they're gonna do the analysis and say his name.
I hope he goes first round to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he forces freaking what's his name just just as shits and giggles. Roger Goodell comes out like Vince McMahon did with the do-rag
Oh,
and has to announce it that way. Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers draft Noah Carr. Oh God.
let's
Ladies and
see.
gentlemen, stock in the NFL has hit an all-time low when Roger
Dude.
Goodell. Yeah. All right.
All right. Let's
Thank
get
God we're
into
off this fucking story.
this next segment here. So this is gonna be a light one. I thought that when I saw this video, I said I would actually go out and do this and have a good time. And I could see two demographics doing this: military veterans and college age kids playing a sport called undodgeball, where you actually have to hit the player to score points, but where you hit them determines the amount of points that you get. And to the person that you're hitting, you can't see when and where the ball's going. So let's take a look at this video and y'all tell me, would y'all play this sport?
Not the McNuggets.
That was.
Junior, I'm sorry, buddy.
I want you guys to know that was so fast. Head's 3, chest is 2, legs are 1, your nethers are 5.
My nuts are in my stomach.
You won't even be able to hit his balls. His stomach's gonna catch it. Got him. What the? Whoa.
What was that?
That was my phone.
The nut shot makes this almost insurmountable. Let's aim for that little millimeter Peter.
That's 2. 7-2. There we
In
go.
the gravy veins.
Yeah, can he close it with the?
Oh, what's a good comeback underdog story? Frickin' Rudy!
Uh-oh. You gotta finish this.
Putting it right on his chin.
Yeah.
No did it. Full baby.
He's. That's all right. He needs the nightgown.
8-2.
There you go. Give him a nut shot. You're back in this
That
game.
would be incredible.
That would-
Views are going to the moon.
Give me this. Give me this story. I want to write about this on ESPN. That's a chest shot. That's 4.
Just a big old breast. The milk maker.
The milkman takes. That's all he does. He takes.
8-4.
That's game, brother. That's game, brother.
I retire.
So, undodgeball. Drew in the comments said, sounds like a bad idea, but that he's done that sport with toilet paper. All right. Coach, what'd you think about that?
Oh, hell yeah. I would have fun with that one. I would have fun with that on dodgeball. Yes, let's do it. In fact, let's do a undodgeball tournament with every host on WTF Nation Radio. I say we do that. Let's do it. Come on, Ice. We need to play this game. Come on, just think about this right there. We can go ahead, throw balls at each other. Yeah, head 3 points, chest 2, arms and legs 1. You know, ding dong and clam shots 5. Hell yeah, let's do it. Come on.
Yo, we need to have, I don't know how we're going to make this happen logistically, but I would so be down for a host retreat, something like that. You know,
Hey,
the win is going to be difficult.
And I will say this. We all know too that CQ will be at the best advantage to win that game.
Why is that?
Because he's already missing a finger, so that's what we're gonna miss. He's already got less body than we do.
Man, so yeah, let's see.
See, you're at an advantage, buddy.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I wasn't sure if he was still here. That's fantastic. All right. Next segment, Coach. We already know how much you love the WNBA. I have a clip here that I'm going to play, and I'm not going to play the audio to it, but we're just going to show the foul as it occurred. And I'm going to ask you if you agree with it being upgraded to a flagrant 1. Let's take a look. So here you've got Caitlyn Clark, boom, just gets clobbered by Angel Reese. All right. And I might need to take it off of Maximize here in a second so that we don't get zucked. But I'm going to wait till they get to the replay. Okay. Where you can see exactly where she just got hit in the head. Right. Oh, this is the good one. Bow! Okay. Now, here's one more look at it. Me, right, there, right there, boom. That's the money shot. All right.
Yeah.
So obviously there was a lot of hype around this, as this was the second rematch or first rematch, the second time that these two rookies who have been hyped this year in the WNBA have came together. They are playing on teams that have some of the worst records in the WNBA. The Fever took the win over the Chicago Sky 91-83 today. Caitlyn Clark had she was efficient as hell. She shot 7 of 11, 3 for 7 from 3. She made all 6 of her free throws to put up 23 points, 2 blocks, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. Whereas Angel Reese, the other hype person in this game, in 31 minutes went 4 of 13, where she had 11 points, 1 block, 2 steals, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists. The Fever are 5 and 10, 3 and 4 at home. The Chicago Sky are 4 and 9, 3 and 4 at home. What do you think about that? Do you think that it was a flagrant one, the way
Head
that a flagrant one is?
Headshot, yes. Flagrant because of the effect that it had, because of the player who it was as well. Let's be quite honest. Let's be perfectly clear right here. Angel Reese doesn't have the greatest daggone, well, she doesn't have the greatest reputation for being quite fair, being the person who's going to end up being, just to play the right way. She's known to play rough. She's known to play hard. And she's also known to have had issues with one Miss Caitlyn Clark. Now, every professional referee, and I can't believe I am about to stick up for referees, but I have a friend of mine, and this goes into a segment I want to talk about referees and umpiring at the end of this. But I have a friend of mine who's at a camp right now about with umpiring, and it reminded me at the time when I was an umpire and a referee and knew the professional referees. Now, the professional referees in every professional sports has a league office that highlights certain things with individuals
Mm-hmm.
regarding players to be aware of, past histories, and things like that.
Okay.
It's actually, and you know what? And it was popularized in the NHL. And that was because at one point when these rivalries were there and fighting was just, you can get away with it and get a 2-minute fight and not be thrown out of the game. So there was games where as soon as the puck was dropped, the gloves came off and two people went right to a fight. So the all the commissioners now start sending out their league offices send out things for the referees as prep sheets before the games, highlighting certain things such as past rivalries, anxieties, issues that may occur for there. Players like Angel Reese, players like Rasheed Wallace,
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Rodman, even good one, Pat Riley returning to MSG after quitting the Knicks and going to Miami. The referees get that league sheet and they are notified of things like this. So, in the event of knowing that something like this is bound to happen or could be in a preparation to happen, knowing the stature of Angel Reese and knowing whom the target was, yes, the flagrant one was there because of how hard the foul was. The two is very difficult to pull intentionality. I give it as far as the flagrancy and what she has done as a one. I don't give it as just a regular tech. Definitely not a flagrant two.
Okay. All right. Now,
Flagrant two goes intentionality.
yes, I agree with that. I was looking at it, and I have one issue. Okay. Professional players want to tout themselves as the cream of the crop, right? We are the cream of the crop of athletes. Yet, you mean to tell me that I get that sometimes things can inadvertently happen, but the way she hits her head, it's like I think you can have an argument of while it wasn't intentional, you're a professional athlete. You should be able to have better control about the way your
Mm.
hand starts flying in the
I I give this. I give this. As you look at Angel's head position, as you're looking up right now, and where the current ball is, where she is at, there is the way to go it out. And the way, let's see where she jumps up. As she jumps up, is she jumping further away or is she jumping higher up? That's where those things come in. She starts her jump right there and barely gets the jump. In fact, actually, I want you to go back to Angel on her down step. I think she was actually coming down. Nope, she was just going up. She didn't jump fast enough and got a late jump off of it. Tried to get the ball as it was close to her reach and did swing out there. And that's why I said the physicality was coming. There is that moment right inside there for it. She will go after the ball because that's how tenacious she is, and she doesn't give a shit what's in her way, thus resulting in the physical replay. I don't think there was any intentionality onto it. And body control, she does have complete body control for what's happening right then and there. You can't give somebody a split second out of it. And I am not saying this bad. This isn't about a women out there, but there is a difference between Brian Scalabrine and Michael Jordan in that reaction time where
true.
Jordan sees it milliseconds, if not like a decisecond before them, and is able to execute that for it. Late jump, went for the ball, just missed it, hit it hard. Not intentional.
Hmm. You're the first person I've heard say "just a second" ever.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No. All right. There is, and this is where this comes down. It's what the millimeter, centimeter, millimeter, decimeter. That's where it comes down to. So when you say a centisecond, it's actually correct, but usually we go by milliseconds, and a decisecond is that third. Like how if you ever look at a Formula One race, they actually give you all 3 point of the seconds behind. That's how close they can come. In fact, that NASCAR race that was about a month and a half ago in Kansas, 0.001 was the difference of that win, and that's a decisecond.
Good deal.
Yeah, now you've been educated.
Hey, here at the sports bar, you're gonna learn some things over here. All right.
Yeah,
Now, the to close this segment out, I did listen to what Caitlyn Clark said about competition and about Angel Reese in general. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Caitlyn has won me over with how she responded. And I thought this was a very professional response that she gave. The sincerity, that's for you to decide. But listen to what she said about Angel Reese.
But yeah, I mean, I think, what she's done with her platform has been absolutely incredible. And, she has an entire fan base that has supported her and what she did at, Maryland and then LSU. Like, obviously, I've played her for a very long time and she's been a tremendous player. So, it's been fun getting to compete against. I think it's been really good for the game. Like, people just love seeing great matchups. But also, at the same time, like, people tune in for these matchups, but then they get to see how amazing these teams are. And then they find new players to support and continue to come back for them, too. So I think that's another benefit of it, honestly.
Hey, I think she couldn't have said that any better, right? To still highlight the rivalry, highlight the matchups, highlight the sport in general without trash talking her. I thought it was dope.
Magic Johnson never said one bad thing about Larry Bird, and Larry Bird never said one bad thing about Magic Johnson. And you will know that while they hated each other at the beginning, they ended up becoming the best of damn friends. Let's just be quite honest, man. It happens when that's young, and there's certain ways to still hate it. Caitlyn Clark still hates Angel Reese's guts, and Angel Reese still hates Caitlyn Clark's guts. You know damn well. That is the, well, I'll say this. If Caitlyn Clark It would have been, and I'm not considered arrogance. Of what I consider it is doing the thing that kills the enemy the most. If Caitlyn Clark and if Indiana Fever was completely their record was reversing, they were the best team in the league, and Angel Reese did that to her and et cetera like that, and she said that it would have been the ultimate thing. You know how, in fact, God actually says this. You know what the best thing to do to your enemies is?
Um,
It's two things actually.
Tickle their belly.
No, best thing to do to your enemies is to forgive them and then excel without them.
Hmm.
As long as they see you're doing well, they will be possessed to try to get back to you as well. But if you've forgiven them and you have not taken that part, like this is the here's a good one. Like in the event that you have a you got an ex-wife and you see something bad happen to them, you don't wish that upon them, but you're kind of like, it sucks for you. Or you see them doing well and you're like, oh, well, you hurt me. And you think of that hurt. You don't forgive out of there. And at that point, right now, and she has not forgiven. They're both in a situation where they're both losing. So that rivalry is still going to burn up. It's going to burn up for a while. It's going to burn up until they get to be at the top of their game.
Yes.
That's the kind that you need to see. See, Magic and Bird, they started at the top and they stayed at the top.
Mhm.
You got, if you really want a good one that went from the bottom and then went to the top, think about this. And pretty well, I'm not even going to give that rivalry out of that one. Here's one. You have very few people that started at the bottom then went to the top, but they can definitely do it. And oh boy, fucking Pistons and Jordan and Isaiah. That's the guy who I was thinking of.
Gotcha.
Hey, happy Father's Day, John.
Yeah, so we have a comment over at the sports bar, and the way we do our technical stuff, I wasn't able to pull it up on the screen like everybody else's, but I do want to acknowledge anybody that types in
Are we
like
in the now?
I want to
No,
say
yeah. Look. We're still going. Keep it going. Hold on. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're at 5 now. Come on, let's make 6.
where we at?
6.
What are we talking about?
Can we get 7? 7. Look at the left of the screen.
I'm
Look
looking.
how we're going. You see our live feed right now? We're literally in the now. We're like showing our screens. And you got to
Oh,
stop the shit. You see where I'm coming from? Yeah. We're in the now. Instant cassettes.
so we have 3 people watching over at the sports bar's Facebook page, 126 live watchers now. Thank y'all for that, y'all. That is
Hell yeah.
awesome. That is awesome. That has made
Outstanding.
my day. Now, for our final segment for today,
Yes.
I put together a list of my top 5, and I've ranked them. My top 5 father kid sports contributors, like meaning that both the father and their kid, and I didn't say father son, but it might just be father son here in honor of Father's Day and families that have played sports. Now, these families are going to come across multiple sports. There was a certain combination that coach said I better have in this top 5. And coach, I'm going to tell you,
Yes.
it's going to go from number 5 to number 1
Okay.
by way that I see it. All right. And before I show this first, when Drew said, "Look, y'all, I'm drunk. Y'all lucky no one is on. Hey, we'll take the
Hell
view.
yeah.
We'll take the view. All right. So, top 5 father kid sports combination. I'm going to go with this one Gordy and Mark Howe. All right.
Okay.
Now, Gordy scored 801 goals and had 1,000 assists, totaling 1,850 points over 26 NHL seasons. Mark, a versatile defenseman, scored 197 goals, 742 assists, totaling 1,171 points in both the WHA and the NHL. Both Gordy and Mark were inducted into the Hall of Fame for the NHL. So, and I have a picture as well. I meant to bring the picture up here.
Yep.
So let's do
And
that. And
and
Coach, if you
how
got
much do
anything that you want to add,
how much do you know about Gordie Howe?
none.
Okay, well, let me let you know about Gordie Howe. Gordie Howe wore number 9 for the Detroit Red Wings as well as the Hartford Whalers. Played in for a long time, the most NHL games. I think he was almost 50 or so when he finally retired. And Gordie Howe was at that point the greatest hockey player that had ever lived. And as you can see right there, Gordie Howe over there to the right with his son. Gordy, when he was playing, it was Wayne Gretzky. In fact, Wayne Gretzky took 99 for the Edmonton Oilers and modeled his style of play after Gordie Howe. Obviously, Gretzky had to have somebody to think like he was going to be, much like MJ had Dr. J. This was Wayne Gretzky's Dr. J, Gordie Howe, one of the greatest of all time. In
All right.
fact, it was when Gretzky broke all of the NHL scoring records, it was the vast majority of them were Gordie Howe's.
Now I gotta make one more change here, so I need you to fill some airtime for about 30 seconds.
All right, not a problem. And for those of y'all that do not know, this is by far the greatest hockey jersey that has ever existed. The Hartford Whalers. Connecticut had a team in the WHA, the World Hockey Association, and that was the Whalers. Now, as part of the agreement for the merger, the Whalers actually stayed in that area. Thus, at that time, giving the tri state region, because they extended Hartford as part of the New York region, 4 professional hockey teams. And in certain cases, New England had 2 professional hockey teams, with Hartford also be considered part of New England. Basically, when they said that there was 2 markets, there was really none. You know where these guys played? These guys played in a hockey arena in a mall in Hartford, Connecticut. The
Nice.
smallest the smallest professional franchise that was playing at the time that they were playing from like in the 90s. Then they moved to Raleigh, became the Carolina Hurricanes, and since then the Canes have gone to the Whalers as a throwback uniform.
Okay.
All right.
All
There we
right.
go.
So
Good enough. I filled up a minute.
yes, that was actually perfect. So I gave one hockey combination. All right.
All right.
My next one, we're going to take it to a different sport here. Give me a second to bring this up. All right. It is going to be over in baseball.
All right. Now there's 2 that I have on my list. It's got to be one of them, and I'm almost definite it's the first one that I'm thinking of.
Okay. So
It's the easy
my
one.
my number 4,
Yep, there's the easy one.
Bobby and Barry Bonds. All right. So Bobby and Barry Bonds. Bobby Bonds had a career batting average of 268 with 332 home runs, 1,024 RBIs, and 461 stolen bases, while Barry Bonds who holds the record for most home runs in a single season at 73, and over a career 762, had a batting average of 290, 298, better than his dad, 1,996, better than his dad, 514 stolen bases, better than his dad, despite controversy over alleged steroid use.
That one I knew was going to be coming up because you have the greatest statistical home run hitter of all time, and his father was a phenomenal Major League Baseball player. He would have been the equivalent of the third of the Hall of Fame groups. You know how, like, the Yankees had George Posada, Andy Pettit, Mariano Rivera, and Derek Jeter as the core four.
Mhm.
Mo and Jeter, Hall of Famers, Pettit borderline, and then you got Posada. Posada, great player and everything. Bonds was that way because he played with Felipe Alou. He played with McGee or McCovey, and he played with Barry's godfather. Say hey, say who, say Willie Mays.
All
So
right.
yeah, that's the kind of player that Bobby Bonds was. So I'm glad you had them on there. A lot of people, because of everything with Barry Bonds doing steroids, and let's be quite honest, yes, he did. Because if you look at his 1998 season compared to his 2001 through 2004 seasons, you will see where all of that Balco went to. And yeah, go from 90. I want you to look Barry Bonds 1999 to 1999, 2004. I want you to look at those numbers and look at every single one of them and know that those were juice numbers. And you'll see the time that it happened. And what pissed him off was the damn Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire were using and getting all the publicity. And at that point, Bonds was the best all around player. And he knew that in order to be better, he had to do something, and that he did. And then he got better at that one, but it also became the biggest douchebag ever. He was a douchebag before it, but he became even worse after.
Hmm. Yeah. You know what? Speaking of juicing, can I make an announcement as it is Men's
Yes.
Mental Health Month? I am I wouldn't have my hormones checked, my testosterone levels checked.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
I was really really low, like on the extreme end of low, and I made the decision. I'm only in my first week, but I made the decision to do something about it. So for the people out there, I'm not advocating testosterone, I'm not advocating hormones or anything like that, but I am going to take the time out to say, take the time when you go see your doctor, your PCM. We have a lot of people in the service or military or veterans, the VA. Be open and straight up about your symptoms and everything that you're experiencing. And if you don't think that you're getting the best healthcare possible, fight for yourself. Speak up, talk to other people. Because I can tell you, since I've started the treatment, because I was so low, I had an instant, immediate, positive change that makes me feel 30 times better, man. I mean, just instantly. Um, so I'm not trying to play professional sports to be, like Bonds was juicing anything like that. But
Nah.
I had a negative kind of connotation about it initially because it wasn't like the natural thing to do. But for me, right now, it's a good thing. And I'm going to encourage other men out there to talk to their doctors about everything that's, going on with you instead of holding it in, which most guys tend to do.
Yeah. Hey, no, but two things. Did they give you that cream that you got to put into your like your inner thigh?
So I was offered a choice between the
Ah,
cream or the injection, and I had never done injections before ever, so I was nervous about it. But
yeah.
after talking with my lady and things, it seemed like the cream was a little bit more. You have to do some maintenance and planning around it, whereas the shot you just
Yes.
inject yourself and go. So I chose to do the shot over the cream.
Okay, okay. I had the cream. Cream was okay with me on that, and I get that. But you know what actually ended up helping me out? And this is
What's that?
something where a lot of people, this is a side effect of this. Sleep apnea does a lot to the internal systems in your body, and proper
Correct.
sleep will mess you up on this.
Hmm.
At the time that I was on testosterone, not only that, my thyroid was messed up. So
Hmm.
I was on hypothyroidism. I also had back pain, ankle pain, PTSD, sleep issues, etc. At that point, I was on a cocktail of nearly 9 different medicines and a bunch of bullshit regiment. That's why I'm fucking happy I'm retired and can smoke marijuana. But once I got my CPAP, instantly, without any of those medicines, and I didn't take the thyroid medicine on purpose, everything shot up and my testosterone was a lot more. And that ended up being the thing that realized that got my system in my regulation was my sleep apnea. And that's what kept me on the CPAP because everything after that stopped changing. My thyroid is, I mean, all the weight from my thyroid is still on there. I wish it reversed my thyroid, but yeah, it freaking, it definitely affects you, man.
Drew had a question over on Facebook. Says, "I hear it feels like going through puberty when you get on testosterone." I would say that for me, it's hard to describe, but I use the word vitality. Like I remember being that 19, 20, 21-year old U.S. Airman able to hop out of bed and just hit life at 100%
Yeah.
speed, going forward. And as of recently, even with me being overweight and things, I remembered how that felt. And for me, it was an instant, man, I feel young again, right?
Yeah.
It could be a
Yeah.
placebo effect, right? But I'm telling you how I felt. Now, it's not a magic pill or a magic thing or whatever. Talk to your doctor about
Yeah.
it. But that's my take on it, Drew.
That's and I agree with you about that one because when you're on the TRT, you're not on it because you're at that level that the things coming in there that it's being released to go up at the higher than normal levels. Now, the first two I've heard, the third one is when it goes up beyond the normal levels. And that's where, if you make sure your dosage are correct, and even out and you're not like sunbathing in that frick you're putting you're not put the lotion on its skin 24/7, you'll be okay on that because the way you're getting it and absorbing it is going to be a slower release, and on top of that too it's going to be a more controlled method than when it does produce in your body during the pubescent years for both of us, so or for the sexes. So as long as you keep that controlled thing out there, you'll be okay on it. You are going to see that pimple thing out there. And I'm going to say this when it comes on to the second part. It's not it's not that it's increased. It's this. It's you realize what level you were at when you were younger
Hmm.
and you're back at that level.
Yep, it's easy
It's
to go
not it's not
reporting for duty.
yeah, it's not you walking around, with a fucking towel hanger right on you all day just randomly. You're not gonna, freaking mount a damn, tree nub or anything like that because of the testosterone therapy. But that'll happen. And then, like I said, that rage part, that's where that's where you have to be careful with how you're taking it and how it relaxes and things like that. That's why those things are there. And that's coming from somebody who's done some research on it, because I thought at one point I did need to go back for testosterone therapy. And then some changes in my diet regulated everything right back to just dipping below or just hovering above acceptable to right at acceptable.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of things you can do natural, which is
Yeah.
what I was doing for about 18 months.
Yeah.
I was because this has been an ongoing thing, and I
And,
tried to do those things with the sleep. That was
yeah.
that was a definite thing. Diet and exercise, and then
And
you have other medical stuff that can
and
affect it.
yeah, and the thing, and why it's also common with us is because of a lot of the things that we have that in men we do. Yeah, you know how they said go out, see the world, do exciting shit.
Hmm.
Think about the exciting shit that you truly have done with everything going into your entire place, places you've gone, things you've seen, and all this other stuff compared to the normal person.
Hmm.
When that testosterone builds up and there's those released, but it gets built up and stretched out like a rubber band over and over again and pulled so fucking hard because it's been so used, it loses it.
Yep.
And then that's when it becomes less elastic. And what basically you're trying to do right now is re-put the rubber back onto everything so you can bounce back.
That was the perfect way of saying it. I'm glad that you said that. And I'm going to add on to this. My nurse practitioner had mentioned that there are three professions that, when you take a look at the data and the science, that there are three professions that, as men get older, they have naturally lower testosterone levels than the average person. And A was people in the military. It didn't matter what you did, but people in the service that had to deal with stress, period, right? Because your body is using cortisol and other things that affects your levels over time. Firefighters and cops. So those were
Yep.
the three professions of people and men that over time have a natural lower levels than the average person because of how much their testosterone and cortisol and other stuff is being used over time versus the average person.
Oh
So,
yeah.
hey, here at the sports bar, we talk about everything.
Yeah. In the words of Paulie Walnuts, a man needs his 7 hours.
Yes, absolutely. Now, speaking of getting back to juicing, number 4 of the greatest dad kid combination in sports
The
was
Bonds
Tommy
family.
and Barry Bonds.
All right.
Number 3, I'm going to take it over to basketball, and we're going to hit up Wardell and Steph Curry, whose name is also
Ah,
uh,
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wardell as well. As soon as I can get this thing to share, it ain't sharing. Oh,
All right. I thought you were going to go to another Golden State family, but I am glad that you brought up, and thank you. I do believe that Del Curry does not get enough credit for not only helping freaking Steph becoming on there, but also let's not remember he had two sons in the NBA.
yep, yep.
Yes.
Both of Dale Curry's sons played in the NBA. Dale Curry was 16 years in the league and scored 12,670 points and had a career 3-point shooting average of 40.2.
Uh-huh.
Steph, who many people have considered transformed the game with his range and 3-point shooting ability, has already amassed over 20,000 points, 3,300 3-pointers, and has won 2 MVPs and 4 NBA championships.
Now, I got to say this, and this is where the credit to Dell comes. When Dell was playing in the NBA and I was playing in high school basketball, this isn't a we played against each other thing. This was a case study. There was a guy, shot doctor by the name of Dave Hopley. He said that there are several players that you need to study as far as how their shots were and how to actually, prepare and to be able to shoot like one of those five. Mark Price was one, but Del Curry was always one of the players that fundamentally had the best basketball shot. out of anybody in the NBA. Steve Kerr was a little bit off. Even Paxson had a good shot. Price had a phenomenal shot, but Del Curry had at that point one of the best fundamental shots in the NBA. So I studied Dell for a while and knew how great he was. Plus, when he came back over, he was always a staple of the Hornets for a long time. And living in Bragg for as long as I did, you heard his name. So when Steph came out in 2008, when he was playing in the NCAA's and Davidson had his coming out party, and I saw the same shot as Dell. And I'm not saying same shot as in this is genetics. I'm saying same shot as in the perfect fundamentals, and Steph had everything down. I saw him warming up the way a true shooter like Dell would warm up. And I saw that Steph was going to be special. It took Steph, and he'll admit this to you, that Steph was a 6'2" shooting guard who could not create his own shot. It took Steph several years and much more ball handling drills to make him the next Steve Kerr to the first Steph Curry. That's what the separation was. But that fundamental shot right there, Dell started it and it created Steph. Much is the same way as that next family you're going to bring up because it better be a freaking baseball family.
All right. So we have two more family combinations. All right. And remember, I ranked mine. So I'm calling the Currys number 3. We have two more families. And Coach doesn't know the order that I have these families. All right. So who would
I,
you say should be number 1?
okay. For me, number one, and it has to do with, well, it best players of all time. Now, there were great players that were there, but I would say that when you think of father son, you think of the only player in Major League Baseball history, the only players in Major League Baseball history to hit home runs in the same inning and be a father son. Now, I don't know whether that's number 2 or number 1 because I might be missing somebody, and I will also bring the whole family up in professional hockey, whom both father and son are in the NHL or in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But the Griffey family, you have one of the all-time greats that was there, and his father, Ken Griffey Sr., who hit a home run with his son playing at the same time. I'm
Okay.
just going to say this. If Griffey is not up there, your list is completely invalid. Either number 2 or number 1, that's fine. If I'm missing a family out here, I'd be surprised, and it might be a little gotcha, but I am I just want to try to figure that one out. So let's hear number 2, number 1. I don't. Let's go ahead, buddy.
All right. So before I do, I wasn't sure if we was going to be able to end our show properly without David Cunningham in the building. So David Cunningham did pull up. I figured if we didn't see him, he might have been doing something with his family or whatever. But David, man, I'm glad that you pulled up. He said, "What about the Bonzes?" So they were number 4 on my list. We featured Barry and Bobby Bonds as number 4. Number 5 was Gordy and Mark Howe from the NHL. Number 3 was Wardell and Steph and Seth Curry. So I have two more families. My number 2, and give me a second to bring them up here. Where's their photos? All right, here it is. My number 2 is the Mannings. Archie
Ah,
and Peyton
that's who I
and Eli.
forgot.
So Archie
That's
Manning,
whom I forget.
the father, passed for over 23,000 yards and 125 touchdowns over 13 NFL seasons. Both of his sons, who have both won Super Bowls, Peyton being the more known and more accomplished son with over 71,000 yards, 539 touchdowns, winning 2 Super Bowls and 5 NFL MVPs. The other son, Eli, has passed for over 57,000 yards, 366 touchdowns, also has won 2 Super Bowls, and has won 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Okay, so I got the Manning family as my number 2 greatest dad kid combination.
I cannot believe I forgot about the Mannings. So, which obviously means to me that you didn't have the whole family up there, which I'm actually kind of glad about because I know now the Griffies will be number one. I would actually
Maybe.
argue something. I would actually argue right now because this is a glaring omission by me that they may actually be the best family dynasty by the time our lives is over.
Hmm.
I say that knowing that Cooper's kid is now getting the starting taps this year over at UT. He's getting the starting snaps in spring. He's going to go into his sophomore year as the starting quarterback at University of Texas, Arch Manning.
Mm-hmm.
Arch Manning is about to go ahead and freaking be on the spotlight. I don't think he's not going to play at the same level as those three. I believe he is going to be this year's close but no cigar Heisman Trophy dark horse.
Ooh, you know what? I'm going to write this down because I want to see what the odds are. Had Coach Prime's son won, I would have made a grip of money
Yeah.
because the odds before the
Here's
season started were really low, and then they shot up as the first 5 weeks, went because there was a
a,
lot of hype around them.
and here's my reasoning behind this. Okay, this kid is truly football royalty. Let's
Hmm.
be honest. This guy is also not direct descendant. He doesn't have to live up to dad's shoes.
Nope.
Now, I am going to say this with Eli and Peyton. They got off a little bit easy in the NFL because trying to fill dad's shoes wasn't that hard. No, Archie Manning was terrible as a New Orleans Saint. It was not great in the NFL. He was phenomenal in college football, and yeah, damn, Peyton and Eli definitely faced that in the SEC. But in the NFL, no, they went ahead and explored it. Arch, well, that's Cooper's kid. And Arch isn't playing in the SEC. Or wait, is Texas in the SEC now?
I don't think they're in the SEC this year. I think that's next year.
Okay. Well,
Let me
guess
look
what?
that.
Guess what? He's got a year to breathe, so he doesn't have to worry about the SEC horse shit. And he doesn't have to go to Neyland or he doesn't have to go to Ole Miss this season. I'm just telling you, this kid, if he's got the pedigree and the mentorship of 3 Hall of Fame right now, Drew, 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. All 3 of them are in the College Football Hall of Fame. Even though one's in the Pro Football, there will be 2 in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You have an entire legacy. And by the way, your only reason why your brother wasn't in the NFL was because he had a degenerative neck disease, and it cost him his entire career before it even started. So,
Yep.
kid's coming in with much less pressure, much less pedigree, and doesn't have things on him. And right now, he's looking good at UT practice. By the time our lives is over, the Manning family will be on its third, looking through its fourth generation.
No doubt. Now, Drew
Yep.
asked what time, and Coach said it's on right now. Yes, it came on at 9 p.m. My plan originally was to be done by 9 so I could go watch it.
Man, if I'm keeping it going, then freaking tell 'em. Well, I mean, it starts
Oh,
whatever we want on HBO
yeah,
Max. I mean,
yeah,
that's a good thing. That's you know what? Maybe that's the one thing I kind of like about that one.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, David, that could happen. But you know what? It's a different place. But like I said, he is also not in the SEC this year and
Yep, it's
has a yeah.
2025.
Yep. All
2025.
right.
All right.
Perfect.
So, number one, Coach, before I started this, said that I better have Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. on this list. And I had already said that there was a baseball family on here. What if I didn't put Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. on this list, Coach? How would you feel about my producing making skills for the sports bar if I didn't list them?
The next time that you would be broadcasting on this, you would have an absolute crack and your head would look like an entire butt. Oh, and you would be broadcasting with an entire crack down your entire skull. That's what would be happening.
Well, with that
Hold
being
on, hold
said,
on, hold on, hold on. I just want to make sure you can hear this. You hear that? You hear that? That's the Stanley crowbar that I have in my hand right now that will be going across your skull if Mr. Griffey is not number one.
Well,
Because that means he doesn't even make the top 5, which is absolute horseshit.
well, number one is indeed
Boom!
Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. Now,
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Sr. had a career batting average of 296 with 152 homers and 859 RBIs over 19 seasons. His son, Ken Griffey Jr., who was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2016, had 630 home runs with 1836 RBIs and a batting average of 284 over 22 seasons. They both played together with the Seattle Mariners, and as Coach said earlier, famously hit back-to-back home runs in the same inning in 1990.
Yep. And if for those of you that never saw Ken, and I hate to say this, 1990s Ken Griffey, there was no better ball player than him. Nobody, and it sucked. And I don't know whether injuries were, I don't know whether it was something that happened when he went to Cincinnati. When he went to Cincy, his body betrayed him, and he was never the same player. But for 10, actually 11 great seasons in Seattle, Ken Griffey Jr. was the best all around player in the league, bar none. McGuire, Sosa, they had better years than him. The Yankees won one more series. There were so many daggone times where he came close but couldn't pull through. He was surrounded by freaking talent left and right. Let me just name some of the players that I had that from Griffey in his time in the 90s. He played with Jay Buhner. He played with Edgar Martinez, Hall of Famer. He played with Tito Martinez before he was traded to the Yankees and became a multi-time All-Star. He was an All-Star in Seattle. He played with the big unit Randy Johnson. And in the later part of his Seattle career, a young Alex Rodriguez was the shortstop and the future of the team. And then 99 happens. They didn't get to the playoffs. And within 2 years, A-Rod and Griffey were gone. Ichiro ended up coming, and then they had the 116 win season and then lost to the Yankees in the ALCS. But the thing is with Griffey, those 11 years in Seattle, the best player. Sports Center had him on every night. If Griffey did not have a key hit or was on base for a run or hit the home run, he would make a defensive play that you wouldn't believe. Oh my God. He was the best in center field. He was the best left-handed power hitter. And if you ever looked at his swing, it was Picasso's paintbrush.
It was
it was the best natural swing God ever created. And I say this to the part that the most beautiful pitching I've ever seen was Mariano Rivera throwing a cut fastball. The most perfect the explanation of pitching I can ever give is Mariano Rivera giving a fastball. The best description I can ever give of a baseball swing is Ken Griffey Jr.'s.
Mm-hmm. All
Hands
my
down.
friends grew up wanting to swing the way he swung.
Yeah. And he had a great glove, and he could run the bases too. I mean, for fuck's sake, he scored all the way from first on that daggone Edgar Martinez double in Game 5 of the 1995 wild card game to freaking eliminate the Yankees, cocksucker. But now this is something that you will probably never realize about this, and this is how the what ifs of both Ken Senior and Junior are. Here's the what if on Junior. What if he never got injured and what if he never left? Would he have gone after 756? And it very well could have happened, but it didn't. This part, and I'm going to finish it up on a what if for both of them. This part comes in now because it was real interesting to figure this out. Ken Griffey Jr. Sr. was drafted in the 40-somethingth round of whatever it is, whatever year he was. And he made a 19-year career out of being drafted in the 40th round. If he had been this time, there would not have been a 40th round. There's only 20 rounds now in the modern Major League draft. So a player like Ken Griffey Sr. would never have been drafted had it been modern. Had he never been drafted that late, he would have never had his career, and his son would have never been staying around the ballparks to love the game of baseball and want to play it and develop it like he did. And then, boom, as you can see, all throughout his life, his father played pro ball, and then, hey, Dad, I'm playing ball with you. Boom, let's hit a home run together. But this is where that story comes in. That kid was with his father on the New York Yankees. And the young championship winning owner by the name of George Steinbrenner, who at his time was at his damn craziest, did not like seeing a young Ken Griffey Jr. running around the locker room of Yankee Stadium and said that he wasn't allowed in and this was a place of business, not a place for kids to run around. Ken Griffey Jr. never forgot that. And even when he had a chance to sign with the Yankees in a playoff hunt after he was released by Cincinnati, he opted to sign with Chicago because he was never going to sign with the Yankees. And he hated the Yankees. So that's that what if right there. Two what ifs. What if he was never injured, and what if he was never drafted? The Yankees would have never had somebody that good, and you get the opportunities for what you make, and that kid made it. But
Absolutely.
best father son, I mean, hands down. Now who was number 5? Who do we have on there? Number 5.
We had Howe family, Gordy and Mark.
All right, Gordy and Markow. Number 4 was Barry and Bobby.
Barry and Bobby Bond.
I actually may say something about this.
Okay.
And this is where this part comes in. So Bobby Hull and Brett Hull. Both of them were Hall of Famers, both of them Stanley Cup champions. You probably don't have them on the list, and they probably wouldn't be making that top 5. But here's where my argument comes in regarding regarding Barry and Bobby Bonds. On all of those that you have listed right there, there is at least one Hall of Famer. And in the case that I'm giving you with Bobby and Brett Hull, there are 2 Hall of Famers. Like I said, with the Manning family, technically you have 3 Hall of Famers with everybody, with Archie being in the college, and both Eli and Peyton NFL here soon, and Junior, who should have been unanimous, and whoever didn't vote him is a douche. Being a Hall of Famer. Bond's family doesn't have any Hall of Famers.
Okay.
There's my only argument. There is my only argument, but I could agree with you about adding him in there because statistically, they're actually better than the Griffies. But that being said, the Griffies actually have more World Series championships. And it's 1-0. That's the funny part.
I like your point about Bobby and Brett Hull and the fact that they're both in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Does indeed make them one of the most celebrated father-son duos in sports history.
I mean, look, but you know what? It's hockey, and like we said, and it's surprising that I forgot the Mannings, but NFL and the older sports are always going to be king. We have clear number 2s right now, and that is NFL and whatever season is going on, and the post and whoever is in and it has an interesting team in its postseason. If you have 2 shitty teams in the postseason or 2 people that nobody care about, well, you're going to have great local turnout, but you're going to have terrible other turnout. So it's whatever is playing behind the NFL on the hot at that point, and then everything else is third. Yep. Hockey, unfortunately, is in that mix, and it will end up coming third a lot more to baseball and basketball, and even at times other professional sports if the topic is hot. Which in the WNBA apparently is because they're shoving it down our fucking throats because it's the only damn thing on. You can't watch, and that's a sad thing. You know what? Oh, God, we were saying baseball in the 90s was phenomenal. Baseball in the 90s was phenomenal because you could also watch it. You can't watch fucking baseball now. You put all of this stuff in to create a better game, yet you're stuck in the past as far as your broadcasting. People in St. Louis, like if you lived across the street from Busch Stadium and the game was sold out, you still wouldn't be able to see it because your local cable channel doesn't carry the St. Louis Cardinals in the actual area that it's in. Mm-hmm. Fucking ridiculous coverage laws. I can't even watch a Yankee game if they're playing Baltimore, Atlanta, or New York on any of their channels. And guess what channels I don't get? Baltimore's, Washington's, and New York's. Terrible, isn't it?
Yep.
Can't watch the fucking game. Ugh.
To close us out, tomorrow in the NBA, we have Game 5 in which the Boston Celtics could get their 18th championship to close out the matchup between them and the Dallas Mavericks, as well as on Tuesday.
They
You go back over for the Stanley Cup Final, Game 5, in which the Florida Panthers have a chance to close out the Edmonton Oilers. I am going to call conspiracy in saying that, in my opinion, when you look at what happened in Game 4 in both of their respective sports, Dallas blew out the Boston Celtics 122-84, in which I think was one of the largest playoff victories that the Mavericks have ever had.
yeah.
And Boston, who's played phenomenal, who hasn't lost that many games over this NBA playoffs, it made me go, right? Because you had a chance to close it out at the away team's market, but you didn't. You get dominated. And in hockey, the exact same thing happened in Game 4, in which Edmonton, put the whooping on Florida. What was it 8-1? 8-1
8-1, 8-1. Yeah.
at home,
Now,
so
okay.
that
Okay.
you forced the Game 5 back in the favorite team's home place. I don't know, man. To me, that was a little bit shady. It seemed very conspiracy theorist.
Can you rewind back next week or from last week?
We
Look,
both
we
we
both
both said
said I
Game
didn't.
5.
We both said Game 5.
Yep.
Still Game 5.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to make one correction. Unlike the other format of the NBA, the finals takes a different format. It's a 2-3-2. So Game 5 is going to be in Dallas on Monday night. Yeah.
I'm looking at it.
Oh, it is. Is it at Boston?
Yep.
Did they move? Did they?
Yep.
Oh, I thought they kept it at a 2-3-2. Okay, so Game 5 in Boston. I
Game
said
5
that
in Boston tomorrow on ABC.
I said that the home team was going to get one at home. I thought it would be Game 3 for Dallas. Not surprised on Game 4, and I'm not surprised on blowouts for Game 4 because, all right, this is the best way to say this. All right, here's this one. How many people think that Aaron Judge swung on the first pitch that he had to hit number 62? He didn't. There was a 1-0 pitch, and it was fouled off. There was this, and it was fouled off. And then he struck out. Then he hit the home run in his next at bat. There's certain false starts that are going to happen, especially with the team going up 3-0. That's where this is going to happen. I don't care if it's at home. The at home is that over the hump thing that will get you past it. Right now, these teams are physically drained, emotionally drained, and at one people are fighting for their lives, the other ones are fighting for it to end this misery, or to end the draining and to celebrate. So the little hiccup happens. It happens. You get it out of your system, and then you come back and you win Game 5. Now, if I thought I was going to say Game 5 in both series, I still believe it's going to be Game 5. I don't give a shit if it's at home or not. I thought it was going to be Game 5 with both of them winning on it. I could see why they rate it. I don't think it's about the ratings, because if it was about the ratings, then why did the Saturday night game against Florida? I get it that it was in Edmonton and in Calgary, and it would have been a shitty reaction, but it's also Saturday night. They wouldn't have gotten Tuesday nights during the summer. You might have decent ratings. Monday night, I will say this: I think the NBA took a misstep. Game 5 should have been tonight. That's the way it would have been, and I thought they should have gone to it, but I get the Monday night. Okay. Yeah, Caitlyn. Yes, Caitlyn Clark can show up.
All right. Well, hey, both you and I both said Game 5s for both, and I think we
Hey,
should be ready.
I have a good question for
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, as of right now, Great Bill Russell passed away. John Havlicek passed away. Bob Cousy passed away. The last great living Celtic is Mr. Lawrence Bird. Do you think Mr. Lawrence Bird is in Boston tomorrow night for the win?
Yes. Yes.
You think Larry will be there?
I think he shows up. I think this version of Larry understands the significance, and he'll be there.
I think he's at the point right now where it's kind of like he needs to be that Russell type of guy to bring everything back. I think he needs to be the elder statesman of that, and I will welcome fucking Larry. I want to see Larry Legend give Jason Tatum the Larry O'Brien Trophy. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly, and then I want to see. I'm going to say this. I want to see the commissioner or Larry Bird, or even fuck it, get Chief, get Robert Parrish back. I want Chief back. No, or even get KG. Okay, get KG just for the shits and giggles. But I want him to give Brown the MVP of the season of the series.
Oh, um, I'm gonna pivot real quick to some tragic news. I don't know how we didn't lead with this. Basketball legend and former Los Angeles Laker, the NBA logo himself, Mr. Jerry
Ah,
West, passed away June 12th at the age of 86.
yep, the logo himself, man.
Yep.
Damn.
There, as of 2 days ago, the details of his death were unknown at this time. But I mean, the man was 86 years old, in what I call the overtime years of life.
Yeah,
And, he's the man who the NBA logo is made after, well respected. His nickname was known as Mr. Clutch. All
yep,
right, as he was always good about bringing his team back for from being down in some tragic situations and some
yeah,
really important games. So rest in peace to
yeah.
Mr. Logo himself,
Now
Jerry.
I do got to say, even though Jerry West never won an MVP, which I was rather surprised about.
Same, same.
Yeah, I think that was one thing, and now here is something phenomenal that a lot of people don't realize. So Jerry West did win. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Brown's going to be the MVP. I want to see KG give him the. I want to see KG give the Bill Walton Award to Jalen Brown. That'd be all. That's Boston right there. That's Boston basketball right there to you. But for me, where was I going? What did I just say? What was I talking about before that?
Jerry West,
Jerry
not
West.
yeah.
So Jerry West won one championship, and that was with it wasn't with Elgin. It was with oh, Wilt. One of the greatest teams. I think it was that team that actually went 69-13. The team that the Bulls had to beat for the record when they went 72-10. So that was the only championship he was on. But he was always deliver and bring the teams to the game, but his team would never win. But him in the NCAA tournament and in the NBA finals is the only person to win the MVP in both of the tournaments for the losing team.
Hmm.
That can tell you about how great of the player he was. Mr. Clutch, this is before the NBA made the 3-point line. In 19, I think it was game 3 of the 70 series against the Knicks. The Lakers were down 2 with some time left, and Jerry West let go a shot from the foul line of the other side at the end of the game, 75-footer straight in to send it to overtime. It would be a game winner now to send it to overtime, which they ended up losing. But then the funny thing is that when he ended up becoming the executive, He won 5 championships with Magic Johnson. Then rebuilt the Lakers and won 3 championships with Shaq and Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
Redid everything again, and then won 2 more championships with Kobe and Gasol. 11 championships. 10 as an executive and 1 as a player. Phenomenal basketball mind and knew how to build an organization. He was one of the maestros behind Showtime and brought the Lakers to the prominence in the last 10 no okay, yeah, 10 of the last 11 championships from the Lakers were thanks to Jerry West. Yeah, because the only one that they didn't win, and I think West was with maybe I think he was with the Clippers at that time, was the bubble one where LeBron won it.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget all about that one. And a lot of others do too.
Everybody does. I count
You
it
know,
because I'm a
and
LeBron James fan, but
I don't know who won the Stanley Cup that year. Don't remember. I barely remember. Only reason why I remember the Lakers doing it is because now Anthony Davis, it was never, he was the best player without a ring. Now nobody even talks about Anthony Davis anymore. And you had what's his name, and I don't even remember who the hell won the World Series that year. Yeah,
me neither.
yeah,
Me neither.
yeah. That's sad. It
COVID-
was the
COVID
Dodgers. It was the
championship.
Dodgers. Yeah, the COVID championship years. You got to. I mean, and nobody remembers that was actually like the championship that everybody, the one big championship right before COVID was the first Chiefs Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was ever since the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. That's when the world's gone downhill.
Exactly. Blame the freaking Chiefs. Now, I like today's episode. I like to try to make the episodes relevant to what's going on. Today is Father's
Okay,
Day
goodbye.
2024. We had a phenomenal closing segment in which we listed the my King's top 5 father kid sports duo. And God happened to me said, I grew up loving everybody on this list. Then number 5, I had Gordy and Mark Howe. Number 4, I had Bobby and Barry Bonds. 3, I had the Currys, Dale and Steph and Seth Curry. Number 2, I had the Manning family, Archie, Peyton, and Eli, in which Coach actually added the fact that Cooper's got a shot.
Yep.
Cooper's got a shot. And then number 1, which Coach would have kicked me off this stream if I didn't have them listed, is Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. So
Yeah. And to the guy who unfollowed, well, hey, great. I'm glad your fake profile unfollowed us. Okay, bye.
dang, Victor, man, why you gotta be like that, Victor? We're providing some sports entertainment here at
This
WTF Nation Radio, and you just say unfollowed. All right. Yeah. What about Muhammad
wow. Yeah.
Ali and Layla?
Hey. He worked at America's Navy, yet he studies at the Universidad de las Americas Puebla. Yeah, you sound legitimate.
So David Cunningham asked, how about the Alis? I would have had them at number 6 if I was doing a top 10. I respect what Layla did in the sport of boxing, as well as, her dad, the legendary
You
Muhammad
know,
Ali.
you know,
And
and
she had a phenomenal record as well. And she retired undefeated with a record of 24-0. I actually wrote her down here and I was going to list her, but they would
and
have been number 6.
And you know what? We can also go kind of down the list on some other sports if we really got into motorsports.
Mhm.
Oh, my motorsport fans would be hating me because not only am I forgetting Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr.,
They were
I'm
7.
also forgetting Mario and Marco Andretti. Ah, yeah, you're forgetting about that one. I'm also missing, and this one you will never go with, Damon Hill and Graham Hill. Graham Hill is considered the greatest driver that ever lived.
Okay.
And his son, Damon, won the championship in Formula One in 1996, which that's an accomplishment of in itself. So there are father sons in motorsports. And I could even go back to Million Dollar Bill Elliott and his son, Chase Elliott, as being the first or one of the father sons to win the Cup Series, whichever it be, the Winston or the Sprint or the Nextel or what Xfinity or NASCAR Cup Series. Both of them were champions on there. So I completely missed my niche genre, and I just named off four phenomenal ones that are champions in their own right and have championship children. In
Yep.
fact, I'll even give you a cross one. Oh no, did I not say the answer? Yeah, Alan Bobby Unser. Thank you very much. I said the Andretti's. I didn't say the Unsers. And if I don't know, I don't think Graham Rahall's won another one, but there's another one at IndyCar that I might be forgetting as well. But yeah, there's you miss a lot of on that one. You can even with the Ali's. Um, you're missing, and I'm trying to think, what about boxers?
I couldn't get deep into boxers. The only one that stood out to me, I mean, you did have, because what I noticed and what I liked about the Ali's is that Joe Frazier had a
Yeah,
daughter who also had a fight against Layla, so it kind of kept that Ali Frazier,
yeah,
thing going. So I thought that
and
was dope. They would have made like the honorable
and
mention.
and you do you but you also don't see it in golf, you don't see it in tennis either, that where these families will kind of pass those things down. So it's kind of interesting where in certain places you see where there is a familiar type of thing within the sport, but as you look a little bit more onto the individual, you're rarely seeing those types of things, and it would be interesting to see more of that. It would be nice to see Phil or whatever douchebag named Mickelson, coming in and, maybe swinging right handed instead of left handed, or, Tiger Woods' kid. You want to see what, maybe that would be something right there. And that would, that to me would be the next one's coming up. But yeah, I can't think of any more examples, man. Can you?
Mm-mm. Nope. Like I
You know,
put
even,
nothing together with
you
this
know,
list, but that was
even
it.
even NBA wise, okay, you don't really have that many great Sun players aside from really the Currys, the Barrys, but even the Barrys, only one of them has ever really won a championship, and then the father Rick was the Hall of Famer. None of the kids were better out of there, and then you've got dotted here and there about who played in the NBA, and then this and that. You had the Hardaways, for crying out loud, Tim Hardaway and Tim Hardaway Jr., but still neither one of them Hall of Famers, but. And I know hockey probably has somebody. You got me on who it is, but yeah, it is kind of nice on this Father's Day to celebrate the father sons of professional sports.
Yep, yep. Now, David Cunningham, you are the guy we like to close out the show with. So we are going to end our show out. Coach and I will be live next Sunday, same bat time, same
Yeah.
bat channel. To all of the fathers that are out there watching, happy Father's Day from both Coach and I here at the Sports Bar on WTF Nation Radio. And have I given enough time for David to get in the chat side?
Oh, yeah, we got it.
All right, hey, here we go. So David Cunningham said, on this day, may we lift up every father and father figure, asking that you continue to guide them in their journey. Grant them the wisdom to lead with integrity and the patience to nurture with love. May they always find joy in the role they play and be filled with your peace and comfort. Have a great week, sports fans. And now we can end the show.
Man,
I love it. I'm telling you, I got nervous. I didn't see David earlier, so I was like, man, we're gonna end the show without DC, my heart would have
Man,
been
man, man, you said you were going at 9 o'clock. It's fucking 10:15. Jeez.
yes. So thanks to everybody that tuned in. If you did not hit the like button, hit the like button on your way out the door. Victor, hey, sorry that you unfollowed, man. Refollow us back if you ever feel the need as you get your doctorate in engineering from MIT. And to everybody else, thank you. I salute you. Happy Father's Day. We're out. Peace.
Peace. Wiener, wiener, wiener,
Meh,
wiener,
meh, meh, meh,
wiener,
meh, meh,
wiener,
meh, meh.
wiener. One
Meh,
wiener next
meh,
to another wiener.
meh,